It was
This
almost
is before I
addictive.
was born.
It was almost, and I started, when I moved to Milwaukee in '81, I started reading pornography, going to the bookstores. Eventually that led to frequenting the gay bars. And then one time I brought this young man back to the hotel room, the Ambassador Hotel. Was just planning on drugging him and spending the night with him. Had no intention of hurting him. When I woke up in the morning, he had a broken rib here, was heavily bruised. Apparently I had beaten him to death with my fists.
Ted Bundy, let me look up Ted Bundy for you right now. Hold on. Let me look up Ted Bundy for you right now. If you don't know who Ted Bundy is, Ted Bundy was a guy that was, hold on, let me fix my brain. We gotta get this shit right. Ted Bundy was a guy that murdered women all over the country. He was a capital murderess. And he was murdering bitches. I can't say bitches, so I say bitches. He was murdering bitches. I can't say murder and bitches at the same time. Murdering bitches. Y'all telling me, y'all take this man, y'all take Ted Bundy out. He was killing them. Right? Physically, both ways. Sexually and by weapon of his choosing, right? Y'all gave him the electric chair. I don't want to sit here keep chatting. Look up Ted Bundy again. The reason why I'm wearing blue, let me look up Ted Bundy. The reason why I'm wearing blue gloves is because I don't want to get caught red-handed. That's one of my favorite serial killers. This is Ted Bundy. I know it's gonna sound bad because a lot of people died. You know what I'm saying? Some people may have purpose. I still don't get why the fuck he was murdering all them girls. That's my question. I say, yo, why the hell was he doing that? One thing I couldn't watch was a series on Netflix. I can't watch it by myself. When the blood clot free. I'm not frightened. When I'm frightened, it just make me feel a little uncomfortable. I can't watch. First scene, I'm looking at a black brother. They grabbing legs. Why y'all grabbing each other's legs? I'm not used to that type of stuff. So you know what I'm saying? I got a little frightened. I got a little scared. I ran up out the room. You understand what I'm saying? I turned the TV off. I wasn't ready.
To great lengths.
He is pure evil, but you'd never know it by looking at him. But when you hear
You
him,
don't know it
that's
by
another
looking
story.
at him?
His killing
Yo,
field,
gang.
you never know it.
You don't know it by looking at him. What the fuck? Are y'all niggas? Why? Because he beige. That's why.
But you'd never know it by looking at him. But when you hear him, that's another story.
Sir, that is cap.
His killing field was...
Bill, when I sat down opposite Jeffrey Dahmer for this interview, I wondered what he would tell me, how hard it would be to get him to discuss his horrific crimes.
You next.
What I found was that...
Had these obsessive desires and thoughts wanting to control them, to, I don't know how to put it, possess them permanently.
And that's why you killed them.
Right. Right. Not because I was angry with them, not because I hated them, but because I wanted to keep them with me. And as my obsession grew...
So listen, let me tell you something about you little drill rappers. You understand what I'm saying? Y'all ain't nothing different from this, man. Y'all, I tell y'all all the time. You're a fish. You wake up, you go on the nigga live and you say, I wanna get that nigga. That's the same thing. He killing niggas. That's what he do. He killing niggas. From the back, from the front, from the top, on the bottom, all that. So you doing the same thing, brother. You understand what I'm saying? When you kill somebody, that person's soul with you. Gonna haunt you for life. Think about that last person you clipped. You hear the words? Clipped. Kill. Get that nigga. You understand? This is the same thing. That's why I look at y'all the same. Y'all wake up. Y'all drill. Yes, it's on my mind. Excuse me, I farted a little bit. That's too much energy.
I was saving body parts such as skulls and skeletons.
Jeffrey Dahmer is recalling his monstrous past.
Oh.
Almost 2 years ago in this little apartment in Milwaukee,
The
police
213
discovered
apartment.
the grisly remnants of one of the most horrible crime sprees in American history. Jeffrey Dahmer, an
What they
unassuming
carrying
chocolate
out?
factory worker, would eventually confess that he had seduced, murdered, and dismembered 17 young men. He even
Seduced
ate
young
some
men.
of his victims' body parts. He instantly became the center of worldwide media attention, a serial killer unmasked. Differences in Milwaukee as people try to understand
In
how this
Milwaukee.
could have happened in their midst.
Giannis has to live there. I never knew about this brother till this show came out. The show. I said, what the fuck is this show about? The show pissing me off. Show pissing me so much. I kept asking people, why everybody watching this shit? My coworker tell me, yo, he was murdering niggas. I say, okay. You know what I'm saying? So I'm so used to people just dying. That's what's wrong with me. He say, no, he was murdering niggas. I said, what? What you mean? So I'm not frightened.
The worst kind of monster imaginable. In this exclusive
He
interview,
rallied.
we put those questions to Jeffrey Dahmer himself. We met with him at the maximum security prison where he is serving his sentence of 999 years.
999 years! If I was him, I'd rather get the Ted Bundy, bro. I'd rather y'all give me the electric chair. Y'all giving me 999 years in the maximum prison? Y'all might as well just boom me. I'm not taking this type of
An object for pleasure instead of a living, breathing human being.
His lips dry.
It seems to make it easier to do things you shouldn't do.
The reason why Jeffrey Dahmer was able to get away with his crimes was because of just what you are seeing here.
What is it?
Jeffrey Dahmer is intelligent and articulate. That is what makes him so frightening. But if you listen carefully to his words throughout this interview, you realize it is a thin disguise.
Get to the fucking
You do
point.
sound, though, like the kind of person who could have said to himself, "This is wrong. I must stop."
I always knew that it was wrong, but after the first killing was not planned. I was coming back from the shopping mall back in '78.
Okay.
I had fantasies about picking up a hitchhiker and taking him back to the house and having complete control and dominance over him.
The hitchhiker's name was...
Bro, go back.
I was coming back from the shopping mall back in '78.
How the fuck he telling you this shit? You just sitting there looking at him like this, B? How the fuck you? I would have ran out the room. I would have ran out the room. Men are frightened. I would have ran out the room. How the fuck she still sitting here like this with this face on? Y'all all murderers.
I had fantasies about picking up a hitchhiker and taking him back to the house and
what? And
having
what?
complete control and dominance over him.
The hitchhiker's name was Stephen Hicks. He was just 18.
He was just 18. Bree, what's that called? What's that called? Where they be dominating each other in sex? What's that called? Not EDM. What's that shit called? BDSM. These BDSM niggas, bro. He said it just that he wanted to dominate the nigga. He ended up really killing him. He wanted to kill him in the sheets, and he really killed him. This is real life. What? Nigga, I
Dahmer took him to his parents' house. There he strangled him with a barbell. He dismembered the body and hid it in a drain pipe. It was Jeffrey Dahmer who gave those details to the police in his confession.
No one had a clue as to what was happening for over a decade.
During that time, Jeffrey Dahmer joined the Army and was sent to Germany. He was eventually discharged for a drinking problem and returned to Ohio. 9 years after Stephen Hicks' murder, the killing began again.
What happened to you in the 9 years in between that you were able to stop, that you were able to control yourself?
It just wasn't an opportunity to fully express what I wanted to do.
Why those
There was
glasses?
just not the physical opportunity to do it then. And I started, when I moved to Milwaukee in '81, I started reading pornography, going to the bookstores. Eventually that led to frequenting the gay bars. And then one time I brought this young man back to the hotel room, the Ambassador Hotel. Was just planning on drugging him and spending the night with him. Had no intention of hurting him. When I woke up in the morning, he had a broken rib here, was heavily bruised. Apparently I had beaten him to death with my fists.
And you have no memory
I
of
have
it?
no memory of it. But that's what started the whole spree all over again.
Dahmer says he snuck the corpse of his victim, Stephen Toomey, out of his hotel room in a suitcase. Then he took it to his grandmother's house, where he cut up the body and put it in plastic garbage bags.
He was wilding
When
in
you killed
G-Mom's
these men,
crib.
afterwards, were you repulsed? Were you upset?
No, at the time, a surge of energy. I wouldn't have to worry about any of their needs or anything. I just had complete control of the situation.
Why did this
But
pop
Jeffrey
up on my
Dahmer was
algorithm?
out of control. The urge to kill had overpowered him. As police later learned, he wasn't satisfied with his victim's death. He wanted more.
Why did you photograph them?
It was my way of remembering their appearance, their physical beauty. I also wanted to keep if I couldn't keep them there with me whole, at least I felt that I could keep their skeletons.
Oh,
And I even went so far as planning on setting up an altar with the 10 different skulls and skeletons.
And what was the purpose of the altar going to be?
As a sort of memorial. A point where I could, I don't know. It's so bizarre and strange.
did you just
it's
say
hard
you
to
was gonna have an
describe.
altar,
A place where I could collect my
altar
thoughts
memorial for these dead bodies that you just killed, brother?
and feed my obsession.
When the bodies were still in your apartment, there was no time when you would see them and say, this is grotesque, what have I done?
There were times, but the compulsive obsession with doing what I was doing overpowered any feelings of revulsion.
This man with a quiet, almost shy demeanor became a master manipulator who was able to lure strangers he met at gay bars to his apartment.
Oh!
He was even able to con the police into returning a 14-year-old boy to him after neighbors called 911 upset that the child was in the street naked and bleeding. Dahmer convinced the police that he and the boy were simply having a lover's quarrel.
My nigga, where are those policemen now? Nigga, it's a 14-year-old boy. 14-year-old boy. Y'all return him back to him, and he told you he was. Y'all know y'all dumb. You saying it? You trying to make it look like, oh yeah, he's one of the smartest niggas. No, y'all just dumb. Y'all just dumb. I see a scene that's so dumb in that show. The boys pull up, they tell you, yo, this nigga just tried to kill me in there. He just tried to kill my shit. He just tried to kill me in there. Yeah, that nigga, he opened the door and you over here talking about, what's that smell? Arrest him! You know what I'm saying? What the fuck you talking about? Are we really saying this nigga is intelligent, or are y'all just dumb?
The intoxicated boyfriend of another boyfriend.
Well, how old was this child?
He wasn't a child, he was an adult.
After the police left, Jeffrey Dahmer murdered that boy, Conorak Synthesomphone. This man says he had a near-fatal encounter with Jeffrey Dahmer.
He wanted to take some picture of my back. He hit me with a rubber hammer on my neck.
He was lucky to escape because by then the killing had become almost routine.
Before you went out to pick up a man,
What the fuck?
was there any kind of ritual you went through?
I go
wanna
to the
take a picture of my
nightclubs,
back.
drink, watch the striptease shows, and if I didn't meet anyone at the bars, I'd go to the bath clubs and meet someone there, offer them money, and we'd go back to the apartment, have a few drinks. I'd have the sleeping pill mixture already prepared. Person would drink it, fall asleep, and that's when they would be strangled.
Watching the movie Exorcist III was also part of his ritual. It put him in the mood for murder.
I felt...
And I ain't gonna lie, we can't stop making these horror movies because they fucking fascinating itself. Now we watching these shits all the time. You gotta start watching them because I keep on watching all this shit. Drill is all on. Like, you understand what I'm saying? All on their mind. The Exorcist on repeat is crazy.
so hopelessly evil and perverted that that I actually derive a sort of pleasure from watching that tape.
Did you like feeling evil?
No, I didn't. But I had tried to overcome the thoughts, and it worked for a while, but eventually I gave in.
While Jeffrey Dahmer may say things today that make it seem like he understands what
Right.
went on in his mind, he does not. All he can do is tell you what happened, but he cannot stop whatever it is that drove him to kill in the first place.
Do you still feel those same urges? Do you still feel that compulsion, that obsession?
I wish I could say that it just left completely, but
Nah.
no, there are times when I still do have
And there is something wrong. There is something wrong. You understand what I'm saying? There's something wrong. Look, one day I wake up, I said, I want to do some weed. I want to do it. Then there's a day that I say, oh, I need to do it. There's something wrong. You don't need to do nothing that you don't have to do. You telling me you want to kill? I can't sit here and just judge this nigga, but it's hard not to, my nigga. You killing niggas. And then you acknowledging to make yourself human again. No, you not human, brother. It's over for that, B.
part of me. At first it was just curiosity, and then it became compulsive. Then I tried to
Type of One Piece shit?
keep the person alive by inducing a zombie-like state,
This man is a man-eater.
by injecting first dilute acid solution into their brain, or
What?
hot water, and it never did completely work.
Could someone like you be stopped? Could you be helped?
No,
Bitch, you
I
know
was
ain't no stopping me.
I was dead set on going with this compulsion. It was the only thing that gave me any satisfaction.
He became so warped by his evil impulses
My
that
God.
he even took a victim's head with him to work at the Ambrosia Chocolate
Why
Factory.
did you do that, brother?
I kept the mummified head and skull of one of the victims in a carrying case in my locker at work.
Were you almost flaunting it?
Yes, but that's how strong the compulsion was. That's how bizarre the desire was. I wanted to keep something of the person with me.
Jeffrey Dahmer exhibited some disturbing behavior early on. He began drinking heavily as a teenager, dropped out of college, was arrested for
Jesus.
indecent exposure, disorderly conduct, and fondling a 13-year-old boy. Tragically, one of his murder victims would be that boy's brother.
Do you know what started it? Was there any kind of incident that you can remember?
You
To
want
this
to
day, I
kill
don't
the
know
brother
what started it. And the person to blame is sitting right across from you. That's the only person. Not parents, not society, not pornography. I mean, those are just excuses.
His macabre 13-year crime spree finally ended when this man, Tracy Edwards, brought the police to the infamous apartment. Like the others, he had gone there with the promise of money.
He was listening to my heart, because at a point he told me he was going to eat my heart at that point. I hit him, and I ran.
What was the turning point for you that made you suddenly realize that you had done something terribly wrong, something you should be sorry for?
It was the night of the arrest. I have no memory of what happened during the 6 hours before the last victim ran out of the apartment. I heard a knock on the door, and the police were there with the last victim.
Oh, that was the one he grabbed his leg.
They asked me where the key was to the handcuffs. My mind was in a haze. I sort of pointed to the bedroom, and that's where they found the pictures. And they yelled, "Cuff him." And I was handcuffed. And it was just the realization that there was no point in trying to hide my actions anymore. The best route was to help the police identify all the victims and just make a complete confession.
Right on myself.
When it was revealed that most of the victims were black or homosexual, people in Milwaukee were incensed. Many felt that was why he went after them and why the police didn't seem to care when their families reported them missing.
10 of your 17 victims were black.
Watch out!
Were they racially motivated
It was
crimes?
not racially motivated. It was not sexual preference. It was just to find an obsession with the best-looking young man I could find.
While you just remain with him, and so do his compulsions, but in prison, he finally cannot act on his savage desires.
If you were out on the street now, would you still be committing the crimes?
Probably. If this hadn't happened, there's no doubt I probably...